Pacers versus OKC. Now, do any of you guys think that the Pacers have a realistic chance
Where we at with Adele?
to upset
We had them in
the
the
OKC
finals.
Thunder?
We
what
did.
I'm saying?
I don't know. I think the Pacers have more of a chance than people give them credit for.
Are you the people?
I don't think they're gonna win, but I do think they have a legit chance,
a
just
cop-out.
because of their offense, just because
Yeah,
of
true.
the issues they've been given all of these teams throughout these playoffs. Because they could do both, right? Like obviously they could outscore anybody. The Cavs' #1 offense, they were able to beat them in the second round, of course, with the injuries, and their defense is nowhere near what the Thunder are going to give them. Like obviously, Thunder are the best defense arguably you've ever seen, but what they're able to do is they have good defenders with their effort become very good defenders. You know what I mean? Like they don't have a Rudy Gobert, a Chet, some of these high-level rim protectors. They don't have, some of these Lou Dort, Carusos that they're going to see on the other side. But Andrew Nembhard gave Jalen Brunson a really tough time. Aaron Nesmith is a solid defender. Siakam is a solid defender. But they don't have anyone that you're looking at defensively that really puts fear in your eyes, right? Like Nembhard did as good as he could against Jalen Brunson. Going up against Shai is going to be a completely different issue, right? Like Shai is obviously like 5 or 6 inches taller. He might not be as strong because Jalen Brunson, even though smaller, is
so
strong as
nimble
shit. But SGA, when it comes to being able to get to the line, scoring at all 3 levels, the efficiency he's doing at, everyone's been able to eat against Indy and their defense, right? Like even though I'm saying how good this personnel can be when they're playing at a high level and they're picking up from 94 feet, Donovan Mitchell had a game where he had 50. Jalen Brunson averaged 30. Giannis, nobody's going to stop him. But Shai's going to be able to get his. Really what Indy has to do, number one, they do a good job of this already, but you're going to have to win the turnover battle. And right, this is a historic team, the Thunder are, when it comes to forcing turnovers, limit their own turnovers. So that's already an uphill battle you're facing. And number two, Tyrese Halliburton's got to give you consistent offensive production every single game. And that's something I'd be concerned with if I'm a Pacers fan, because he has those high highs, right? He has that game, it was game 4 when he goes down, has a perfect triple-double, but he has those low lows where he has multiple games where he's dropping less than 15 or 16 points. If they want a legit chance to win this series, Tyrese has to be an offensive machine for every single game, not just as a playmaker and as a distributor, but he's got to average at least 20 and 20 every single game while having those blow-up performances where he's super efficient, not turn the ball over. So those are really the 2 key areas. If they're able to get in transition against the Thunder, not have to play their set defense, they're already a great transition defense team, but that's really the only way I think they'll be able to consistently generate offense. Because in the half court, we saw the Pacers have some trouble even against New York in the half court when things got slowed down towards the end of the fourth quarters, towards the end of the series. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Indiana. I do have the Thunder winning in 6 games. But if Hallie can give you real consistent offense production alongside Siakam, who I didn't mention, but I'm really looking at Hallie as like the superstar in this team that I need you to be a great 3-point shooter. I need you to be aggressive getting downhill. I need you to, of course, be the facilitator you are while still doing all of the other things that this team can from their role players. So it's going to be a tough series. They're one of I think they're the largest underdogs since the Cavs going up against the KD Warriors, was that 7-8 years ago at this point. So I got Thunder winning in 6 games, I think. I do think the Pacers get at least 1 or 2. But they're going to need a lot to go right for them to win the series.
Yeah, before you go, because I see you have so much to say, and I think you should really dog him. I do think it's interesting.
Nothing really to dog.
Yeah, it's interesting because these are 2 teams that really don't turn the ball over. 2 teams that maintain, possessions that are able to keep, turnovers, keep their turnovers really, really low. They're very handsy. I think Indiana's defense gives you a different issue.
Like
Yes. They're a defense that wears you out. Like you notice with Donovan Mitchell, Brunson, they seem a little bit gassed or tired towards the later games. It's a defense that doesn't let up. A defense that, yes, we see insane scoring amounts, but they're a defense that wears you out. And they're just, in general, we've seen so many comebacks, I feel like. We've seen so many late game surges from this Pacer team because they're resilient. They're fresh all the time. It feels like they don't run out of energy. But like you said, this is a different challenge. This is an OKC team that causes a shit ton of turnovers. I'm interested to see who's Indiana's going to pick on. They've had multiple series where they're able to pick on one singular guy, 2 singular guys, put them in any action. With OKC, it's really hard to do that. There's not many guys you can quote unquote pick on and they're bad defenders. Everybody's pretty much good to great to elite. And I don't think OKC is gonna have to do the double big lineup. I think they can go single big, miss and match, play small ball, kind of play. They've been actually one of the fastest paced teams in the playoffs this season. They've been the fastest at number one, so they're able to dictate pace. They can play at Indiana's pace. They can play slow and methodical. SGA can go to work. I believe he had a 40 ball of them earlier in the season. This OKC team is really good. I think Indiana right now is shooting at a crazy rate right now. OKC, their three-point shooting hasn't been the best. It's been a little bit up and down, but their defense is so great. I'm interested to see how this Indiana offense looks with this type of defense, this type of looks. I do have OKC in 6. I do think it could be a fun one if we get the best version of Indiana offensively. And if OKC's defense is not able to stall Indiana's offense and able to get it going, get out in transition, get out in fast break, beat OKC to the punch before they set their defense, this could be an exciting series. But this is just a different challenge, and I think OKC is going to win.
I'm going to take OKC in 5 games. I do think they close this series out in Oklahoma. That's not to belittle what Indiana has done and accomplished this postseason. They've been excellent. Their offense obviously has been the main catalyst of that. And on top of it, where their offense has been incredible, you have to give credit to that defense and what they were able to do and limit the New York Knicks to get to this position. So a lot of credit goes to them. I'm taking Oklahoma City because they are overwhelmingly the better defense. They're one of the best defenses we'll ever see in our lifetime. Definitely the best defense that I've watched while I've been a dedicated NBA fan as well. They're just able to do so many different things. Versatility is at the forefront of their defense. How many different perimeter defenders that they have, how young they are, and the fact that Casey Wallace in year 2 has been such an amazing contributor for them. Alex Caruso, an amazing addition for them. And we talk about all these different role players, and the $30 million man was kind of the odd man out this entire postseason for me, talking about Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein, for me, has been the weakest of the best players for Oklahoma City, where we haven't seen him be his usual offensive self. Where I say that, where in the entirety of the regular season and last year's postseason run with the New York Knicks, what really caught our attention was his touch near the rim. He's not really even looking at the basket when he's trying to score it, when he has the ball in his hands. I think that that's one thing and one of the main reasons why we haven't seen him utilized as much. Obviously, we understand what he brings on the defensive side of the ball, but Riv, I'm with you. They don't have to play this big lineup consistently throughout this series. Yeah, they do have the size advantage, but again, they know how great they can be when you just run Chet at the 5. And with the way that J-Dub and Chet both played in that Minnesota series, you're anticipating to get the best versions of them in this finals as well. And I think we are going to see that. I think that when you look at the Indiana Pacers offense and on that side of the ball, it's going to be interesting to see how the turnover battle is played and who ends up winning that. Because again, they don't turn the ball over, neither of these two teams, but there is one team that is overwhelmingly better at causing them, and that's Oklahoma City. And we know how great they are in getting their transition buckets and scoring off of these turnovers, and that really becomes the swing in games. So I'm going to be interested to see how that goes, because again, we're looking at the best defense against a top 2 defense and arguably the best offense, the top 2 offense and arguably the best offense in this playoffs in Indiana. And again, like you mentioned, Riv, both of these teams can play so fast. So it's going to be interesting to see the tempo at which these games are played. It's going to be exciting. I think as an NBA fan, people are underrating what a fun performance is going to be. And again, I'm taking OKC in 5 because I think they are the better team. But that's not to take away anything from Indiana. Now, the last thing I'll say, and this is what I was making the face about. It's funny to me how Boston fans have gravitated towards the Pacers. And now this is obvious. Boston lost to the Knicks. Why would you root for the team that beat you? Easy. But deeper layer, is it coincidental that Boston fans find themselves rooting for the player that also didn't play during the Olympics? That's the one thing that I thought is also...
Also, they talk about last year's series, toughest series for them, even though it's a sweep. They love Indiana. It's low-key...
I would say Boston fans have been showing Indiana love since last year. That's where it started.
They love Indiana. It's both of their star players in play.
There's a lot, I guess there's just so many different ways that you can look about it. They also, last year, the Celtics had, their best player not win ECF MVP.
Indiana's best player.
Sitting at
both their
here we
players
go.
were water boys in USA.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Taking a free vacation.
100%. 100%.
It's
and
crazy.
Pascal Siakam comes in and wins ECF MVP. We left with something in that series.
It was awesome.
He was incredible. 330 balls. He was amazing.
Boston, Indiana, man.
But it's going to be a really fun series. It's going to be super high paced. I'm excited to see both of these offenses at play. But again, I think the difference in this series is the versatility of OKC's defense. They have the best player. And with the way that J-Dub and Chet are coming off of last series, I really feel confident in their star power being able to get this job done in 5 games.
They've just never been a team that's won on the margins like OKC. Since January 1st, they were first in three-point percentage heading into the playoffs. In these playoffs, they've been one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they've been able to win 3 series, 2 in dominant fashion, without having good three-point shooting performances. They've been able to win on the margins with the turnovers they cause, with the lack of turnovers that they have on the offense side of the ball. In this playoff run, OKC has generated more turnovers than they have turnovers themselves on the offensive side of the ball. And I think a lot of that is due to Shai being a generational low turnover guy. He's not making mistakes. He's not making bad decisions. He's really patient on offense. And a lot of his reads are one pass away, but he makes those reads and his scoring gravity attracts those defenders that you have a ton of players on the perimeter that are left open and they haven't been hitting their shots. And that kind of gives me some worry for Indiana, because if OKC has been able to dominate the landscape this far without shooting well from 3, if they get a great 3-point shooting series, which has not happened in the playoffs yet, where they have just been overwhelmingly great from outside, then I think that's some trouble for Indiana. Unfortunately, in this matchup, Indiana just doesn't have any advantages against OKC. When they play the Knicks, it's the depth, it's the pace of play, it's transition, it's the lack of turnovers. Well, OKC has all those advantages. They are a great transition defense. They're an elite transition offense. They don't turn over the ball. They force turnovers. So all those advantages that Indiana's coming with into the series, they didn't have in the previous series. And Indiana is an offense that mismatch hunts. That's what they do. Pascal Siakam is a mismatch big. He gets players that are smaller than him, shoots over them, or gets players that are smaller and takes them in the post that he knows he has a weight advantage over. With Oklahoma City, there's just no real advantage that you can take advantage of. And that's where I think they'll be able to guard Pascal Siakam. And I think that Tyrese Halliburton's isolation game is going to be really tested, because he's somebody else that he gets screens and he calls out for bigs. When Hartenstein's on the floor, I think those minutes are going to cause some trouble for OKC, because they can get him into those actions. And when they played in the regular season, when Hartenstein was on the floor, they jumped out to double-digit leads and advantages. So I don't think this is a series for him necessarily. But Tyrese in previous series is able to mismatch and get those matchups on offense, and that's how he's able to create. Now, OKC is a different story. I think what the Knicks did starting from Game 5, that's going to be OKC from the beginning of the series. They're going to pick him up 94 feet. They're going to make sure that he doesn't have a head of steam in transition, and he's able to make those passes, and he's able to be quicker with those decisions. They're going to pressure him. So it's going to be interesting to see how Rick Carlisle adjusts to whatever defensive coverage that they have on him. And I think his isolation game is going to get tested and see how he can do when he has to break down these elite defenders off the dribble consistently to generate offense. The one stat that I do think Indiana has an advantage in is OKC is allowing the most open corner 3-point shots in the playoffs thus far, and that is due to a variety of reasons. They just ignored shooters up to this point. Against Memphis, they ignored shooters. Against Denver, they ignored shooters. Against Minnesota, they ignored shooters. We got the Game 5 performance when Jaden McDaniels, where he just started off the game so terribly and they were just leaving him wide open. In this series, I don't think they will ignore Aaron Nesmith to that degree. I think Andrew Nembhard is somebody that comes to mind, and he's going to have to hit his shots, because the Knicks started ignoring him in Game 6 and he wasn't able to hit his shot. So I think that's the one guy that they'll probably feel comfortable helping off to help on all these different actions. And he's going to have to hit his shots for them to have a chance. And it's not disrespect to Indiana. I just think that OKC is just overwhelmingly a better team than them.
Yeah,
and
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think OKC is going to win at 5.
It really is going to be a beautiful thing to see Oklahoma City go 4-game series, 7-game series against a Denver team, which, hey, credit to Denver. 5-game series and another 5er.
Talk.
Pretty dominant, Riv.
Dominant. They did their thing, man.
Pretty dominant.
Who would have thought? Shit, crazy how people just doubted them, Drew. shit's sad, bro. I don't know what's wrong with people nowadays.
Yo,
bro.
Shea MVP. Genuine question. Shea MVP. Shea WCF MVP. Shea Finals MVP. Where does this rank among guard season all time? Is it top 3?
Like full season?
Guard season, point guard, shooting guard, all guards. Is this a top 3 season all time?
Probably. Because you got like an elite D Wade one, but he
Take
didn't.
one single Jordan year, because obviously Jordan could have like 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we
you can't
talking
double
just
count.
players?
Because just players.
Like just players. Probably only Michael Jordan has had a full complete season better than him. But
The stuff
like
would
you
have had
said,
if he won the ring in 16.
Jordan had 4 seasons where he was the MVP, where he was Finals MVP,
Scoring
where
champ.
he finished top 10 in Defensive Player of the Year voting as well. So Jordan has had 4.
Jordan has like
years
4, literally.
that are
Literally
He
better.
has
has
4.
the first 5.
And I would just say 88, he didn't cap off with
You don't even
playoff
need a ring to
success,
cap off,
and
yeah.
he got the first ever MVP DPOY.
I think individual level of play, though, I mean, there's arguments for other guys. I think 2010 Kobe Bryant was up there for just one of the more meticulous players ever on the offensive side of the ball. And also in the finals playing Boston, the big 3, the super team at the time, and beating them. I think he deserves a lot of props. They were down 3-2 in that series, and he came back and he won.
He did lay a dud in Game 7. Nevertheless, they did.
He played
win.
well though. He rebounded.
think
He defended.
early-
Everybody was bad. That was one of the most low scoring games
Yeah, it
in
was like
finals
80.
history.
Was it 80 something?
Yeah.
I
Right?
don't remember the year, but I think it was 01 or 2000. Kobe didn't win MVP, but boy, that playoffs, he was like at 35 a game.
You know, it was funny because I was actually looking at Kobe's stats the other day. That the first, well, they're 3-peat. He was legitimately amazing, like
He-
top 3 in MVP,
He's
amazing.
incredible, bro. He just had Shaq.
He wasn't carried. He was
No, never would accuse Kobe of being carried, but I didn't know his regular season dominance
But
was
that's-
also being capped with like top 3 in MVP, first team All NBA. Like I knew the NBAs, but I didn't know he was legitimate MVP candidate early too.
That's the narrative on Kobe though, is that
The
he had
1A,
Shaq.
1B thing.
But no, he was just as dominant in stretches. In the finals, Shaq had the advantage because he had the easier matchups.
Reggie gave him some fits.
The centers in the finals were never good.
But it
when
was the
Shaq went
W.
there.
It was the West where Kobe was really the beneficiary.
Like in the Western Conference Finals against the Kings, he led a scoring run while Shaq was on the bench. I forgot what game it was. It might have been Game 6. But no, Kobe has those moments, and I know a debate is always like they always talk about Tim Duncan versus Kobe Bryant. I think Kobe Bryant, after he got Pau Gasol, they beat Tim Duncan in the playoffs in the Spurs once he got Pau Gasol,
Yep.
and they met up. You know, he has those moments over him as
I'll
well.
say this credit to Tim. Tim beat both of them.
He
before
did.
he got like a real legit second guy. Like Tim did beat both of them.
Yeah, so in 2000, he was top 12 in MVP, second All NBA. He was in 01, 9th in MVP, second team All NBA. In 02, 5th in MVP, 3rd in DPOY,
Shout out to the
first team All NBA.
Third in DPOY. Okay.
MVP.
Was he Little League and Steelers on that year?
I could tell you because
That's when Kobe was locked in.
DPOY that year was Ben Wallace. Kevin Garnett came in
I
second.
get it.
Kobe got 1 first place vote.
That don't
116
even
went to
count
Ben
for
Wallace. It doesn't. It doesn't.
I just feel like Shea, he's going to have the accomplishments that say that he is having one of the best guard seasons ever, which he is. And I think the accomplishments from start to finish, Dwayne Wade doesn't have that. Kobe Bryant doesn't have that in one complete season. The last player to win MVP and Finals MVP in the same season was LeBron James. And there's only been 5 players to do it since 2000. It's been LeBron, it's been Shaq, it's been Tim Duncan, it's been Shea, and I'm forgetting the other one. But I know it's been 5.
What's the statement? I'm sorry.
There's
MVP
been
and
5
Finals
players to win MVP and Finals MVP in the same season since 2000.
Steph Curry,
No.
2015.
He didn't win
Oh,
Finals MVP.
shit.
Finals MVP.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
That's
He
my
should've.
bad. Yeah.
I'm glad
Giannis?
you.
Giannis
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 is
won year
21.
after.
Yep.
He should have. And I'm glad you acknowledged that the real Finals MVP that year is Steph.
It might be Tim Duncan.
It is probably Tim
It
Duncan.
might be.
Yeah.
It might be.
He did it twice.
I would not. I would not be surprised if it was Tim
Tim
Duncan.
got 2 MVPs, regular season MVP. So I think it might have been.
But yeah, that's the company that he's joining. It's a historic company. And I think only like 7 or 8 players have done it all time.
Bird did it. Michael Jordan did it before.
I think
Magic.
Moses Malone did it
Kareem
too.
probably
Did
did
Magic
it.
do it?
I don't know if he did MVP.
He does have. Am I tweaking or he has 5 MVPs?
5 rings. I don't know if I don't think he has 5.
Realistically, Shai should kill in the finals. Like he should win MVP, but he shouldn't just win MVP. Like he should average like 35 on crazy efficiency.
Yeah.
This is
Just like seasons though that I kind of view from start to finish, and just like his level of play, his performance. I don't know if I put it over 06 Wade, where what he did in the finals, coming back down 0-2 and then averaging 35. Kobe Bryant in 06 averaging 36 a night.
Well, what if Shai goes out there and averages 36 a night?
I mean, I know, but
It's just hard
that
because
team,
you don't want to exactly.
Yeah,
You don't
Kobe's
want
team
to,
that year was just trash. And he
you
just had
almost
to carry.
you almost have to like discredit Shai in the fact because they're just so heavily favored and their team is so much better than Indiana that even if he averages 40, people are gonna be like, well, yeah, you're supposed to. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't discredit Shai. I think.
Well, I'm saying when we're stacking up against these other teams, like for example, like Wade coming back from 0-2. If the Thunder go down 0-2, we're like, yo, what's going on? Like something terrible.
I think where I'm
happened.
getting at is I think there's a distinction between accomplishments and just who is better in those moments. And Shai is going to have all the accomplishments that say he's having a better season, start to finish, than
That's fair.
Kobe, than Wade. But do I think this Shai is better than like that 06 Kobe? I don't. I think that Kobe was better, like a better player. Like I think there's other guards that Shai's having a better start to finish season than them, accolades wise. But I think those guards in those seasons were better players.
I think Shai offensively is one of the most refined guards I've ever seen. I say refined also where, yes, Dwayne Wade era, not the greatest jump shooter. His ability to get downhill, his mid-range was pretty solid as well. But obviously, his ability to attack the basket was second to none. Shai legitimately is unstoppable.
I put Shai.
Scoring the basketball, what can't he do?
I put Shai over
It's just
Wade.
3-point shooting. That's the
I
only
put
thing.
Shai over Wade in some of those seasons. I think his two best seasons were 06 in the playoffs and then
No, wait.
2009
09, excuse me.
in the regular season where he averaged 30. But Kobe Bryant, I mean, Shai would tell you himself, Kobe Bryant is his GOAT. Shai is caught on video saying that Kobe Bryant, he's Michael Jordan, but better. He's better than LeBron.
So
Like,
what you're telling me is that Shai got caught lying?
That's what it sounds like.
what I'm
Lying
telling
like
you,
shit, actually.
Michael
what
Jordan,
I'm
but
telling
better.
you is that to Shai, he's gonna be very humble about this, but I think even to Shai, he will not say he is better than Kobe.
Yeah,
But
I
like
think that's
season,
Kobe is
season
the-
for season,
Kobe is the
I would
guy
not.
for
I would
him.
not take Shai over Kobe. Obviously,
I don't think that I would. Do
yeah,
either.
that's insane.
And
I mean,
it's a
there's-
conversation that's gonna
players
pop
have-
up.
But
But
players'
season-
goats are
yeah,
so
exactly.
like, you know
no,
what
but
I mean?
season for season, Steph Curry.
One thing we're not gonna act like is having Kobe as your GOAT is somehow
No,
wrong.
just having him better
No,
than
it
Michael
is
Jordan,
wrong.
LeBron is ridiculous.
No, it is wrong.
respectfully, yeah.
If you have Kobe as your GOAT,
But
respectfully,
like
it is
people have
wrong.
Paul George as their goat, and I can't say nothing
But
about
Kobe
that. Like,
being your GOAT and
You
Paul
can tell
George being your
them
GOAT
kids
are
ain't
two
watch.
different
Two way
things.
different things. Agreed. One has
being a
a
personal goat.
decent seat at the table.
There's
the other
is
is
your
Kobe Bryant
personal
has an
goat.
argument to be one of the 5 best players ever.
You know, for sure.
he has an argument.
I mean, pre-injury, Tatum had an argument to be the best player.
Enough.
Had one of the 5 best
Enough.
players in the NBA.
Gels
but
is
he's
just
not
spewing
Jokic.
bullshit.
Why
the
the
last-
fuck did you bring up
Who
Tatum?
know.
was that?
Because it doesn't mean you belong in the best in the world conversation just
I'm
because
glad
in
you
the
know.
top 5.
I'm glad you know he stinks.
Like Kobe's one of the best 5 players. Yeah, he's not the seat with
Kobe
Jordan
at his best in
and
the
LeBron.
but 2000s was
Just like Tatum's not in the conversation with Joker.
the 2000s was the Shaq and Kobe era, and then he won 2 rings without Shaq when he got his teams.
Yeah,
He
it's
won
not
back to
discrediting
back.
Kobe. It's just
That's so disingenuous to Tim Duncan.
What's disingenuous to Tim
To
Duncan?
say 2000s was the Kobe and Shaq era.
The early part of the era it was. Tim Duncan
Tim
is
won in 99.
What are you saying from 2000?
No, I understand, but the 2000s fair, he won in 99. Didn't they win in 04? Not 04, excuse me. 03
04
or some one of those.
04.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
05.
05.
And then he won
They
in
won
07.
05 and
05,
07.
07, thank you. But
Yeah,
they
he
won
has 2
5.
rings.
They won 5. So
Yeah,
99,
05,
05.
07, and then 2 in the 2010s.
No,
'Cause
they
they
only
beat
won
the-
14.
It's 99.
Yes.
It might be.
Is it 03 or
it
am I
might-
tweaked?
Well, 2000s Lakers, 2001 is the Lakers, 2002
2 Lakers.
is the Lakers.
So 03, I'm right.
No, because
I'm right.
might have been.
No, 04 is Detroit.
Right.
03
So
is
35.
01, 02, 03
Correct.
is Lakers.
No, 0.
2000, 01,
No,
02.
no.
Yes.
could just-
The
You know what?
2000,
We're doing all this.
the
We're not gonna just
2000,
do this.
2001 season was the Lakers.
Both.
02 and 03 was the Lakers too.
No.
Got it. Don't even trip, guys. Just
99 2000
You're
was
missing the
the
01, 02
Lakers.
season,
Correct. 99 2000 was the Lakers.
Bang.
Yes.
03, 05, 07.
Yes. Yes.
That's when
Spurs.
Duncan won.
Yes.
Yeah. So they win every other year.
It's all right. When you get into shit like that, your mind gets all jumbled up, and it's understandable. But yes,
I'll tell you what the
2000, 2001, 2002, because then 2003, that's when
The
Duncan.
Lakers, the Lakers didn't. They three-peated. They went.
Mm-hmm.
They won in 2000. Yep. 2000,
yes,
2000,
yes.
2001, 2002.
Yes, it's all good. That being said, 2003 was when he won MVP and Finals MVP.
He might have did it 05.
But that's why I say yes, early 2000s, because he won it in 99. But 99, 03, 05, it was Duncan.
07 too.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
but I mean that more so like in the early half too.
He
It
went
was
back to
all
back.
three of them.
He went MVP in 02
02
and
and
03.
03.
Yeah.
He's
Kobe
a
Bryant
legend.
has 5 rings in an era.
Yeah, so does Timmy.
He's one of the 5 best players of all time.
Nice 4.
Timmy's longevity, you could argue, is better. Could argue.
Unfortunately,
One of
because
the best
Kobe.
defensive
And
players
he
ever,
was
you know?
in college for 4 years.
Yeah. Wake Forest.
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest.
He also had years of Kobe with the Lakers that just were obsolete.
Dog shit. 100%
When Shaq,
agree.
when Shaq left, they were horrible until they got
But,
Gasol.
and also that comment is disingenuous. I understand that in hindsight because Kobe, unfortunately, post Achilles, simply wasn't the same player.
the teams
Thankfully
were
for
ass.
Tim, never really suffered a big injury and was always present when you needed
They
him.
always had good teams.
And that's not a knock. It's just,
Yeah,
you know,
it's good
Achilles
luck.
is a freak.
Good luck.
This
That's
whole
exactly
conversation
what I mean.
is about Shai. I don't know right now if when I watch Shai, I say that's better than what I've seen from Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, he's not at Kobe level yet.
But from an
Individual
some-
season. I
from
think
a
that's-
Scoring
first
some
season,
historic
when you look
shit.
at the accolades,
Yeah. It's
Different
tough. You
era.
can't, because Shai's
It
longevity
is,
is
but
just.
his finishing is
No,
like
no,
2
you're
or
not
3
wrong.
years.
I'm just comparing what Kobe was scoring in the early, like in the 2000s defense compared to now. It's just different.
I will say, in terms of tough shot making, he's the closest we have to Kobe.
Yeah.
In terms of tough shot making, I feel like Kobe's the king of tough shots because kind of made a living off that. That being said, Kobe Bryant still is untouched in that.
Kobe just didn't have the same spacing, you know, even though like you don't
1000%.
respect OKC shooters
said.
too much, but
Space
just the
is way
same
different,
spacing, the way the game is played is stretched out more
also
vertical.
I think that when people
Kobe's playing
measure
too big, Shaq all in the paint
efficiency
and shit, you know?
for the most part, when you measure efficiency, nobody does it relative to era.
No.
Era efficiency is different because what's an average true shooting percentage in this era is different than what an average true shooting percentage was in the 2000s or the 2010s. Relative true shooting percentage is how you can get an accurate description of it. And relative true shooting percentage, Kobe Bryant, he always has a great efficiency in his era. So relative to era, Kobe Bryant was an exceptionally efficient player. It's just when you look at those numbers,
It's hard to find
now,
guards in that era that's
we
going
don't
to
see
be
it.
efficient. You know what I mean? It's like, it's going to be bigs, of course,
I mean,
but
Steve Nash is like
He would have
Yeah.
taken the same.
no,
amount of
no,
shots,
no. But
man.
I'm thinking of like efficient guards like that. And
saying
you're
the
right, he
list is
wasn't
short.
I mean, what McGrady,
Probably
Vince
not.
Early.
but I think Shai is capping off an all-time season. Like this is I think gonna go down in the history books as the year of Shai.
This is what. You know what? Never mind.
what's
never
what's
mind.
the
We're
word?
giving him a
Because
month to get
we've
help.
had 2 huge upsets in these playoffs. Of course, New York beating Boston and the Pacers beating the
that first one
Cavs.
again?
New York beating Boston and the Knicks went on
Say
to
the
win.
second one again.
The Pacers beating the Cavs.
Yeah.
Two all-time upsets. All-time upsets. And
yours
in
was
both of
nuts.
these, for better or worse, we didn't really give the other team much respect, right? We kind of glossed over both of the matchups.
I feel like we all gave Indiana respect.
We did, but we were
were
kind of
just
like,
like, it should go
we're kind of
6-7.
like, because we're doing our previews, like, all right, let's go do the previews out west, because people were kind of like, we know what's going to happen.
I won't say all that now.
I
When
feel
we
like
did our
we
preview,
actually walked past the Knicks for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
I
When
feel
we
like
talk
we
about
also-
the
Regardless,
Pacers,
all right,
was
I'm
like,
not trying to get caught up in that.
I'm sorry.
What I'm trying to say is
Meanie.
we've disrespected at least one time saying there's no way this team does it, and a team did it, like
Yes,
New York.
no way they done it for sure.
So let's spend some time. How would the Pacers be able to beat the Thunder? How would they be able to pull off this upset?
J-Dub is atrocious.
Shit.
Chet Holmgren hamstring.
Not nuts.
I'm being
If
genuine.
they're
Like
able to neutralize SGA, not turn the ball over, like SGA is not able to. I said SGA. OKC is not able to get a ton of turnovers. If they're able to get into the offensive sets fast, quick, and in a hurry, they're controlling the tempo. And Hallie's averaging like 27 and 12. I think and then the Magnum ball is still blistering.
They just need great team offense. And Minnesota had great team offense against OKC. What did them in was their defense. Their defense wasn't good. Rick Carlisle, this is what I would say. If Rick Carlisle pulls this off, he would have pulled off two of the biggest upsets in NBA history, with Dallas beating Miami back in 2011 and then Indiana beating OKC in this year in 2025. That's why I give the Pacers a chance, because Rick Carlisle is going to have something schemed up for what they do. Now, will it be effective? That's a different story. But I think that if they have hot shooting, which they've had all playoffs long, it can keep them in games. Halliburton is one of the few players that I trust to not turn the ball over on a consistent basis. And if they can have a sound defensive game plan, and that's what it takes for them. And in the regular season, they were not able to have that. Shai got his way. But it also is very dependent on OKC's supporting players. If they are collapsing on Shai and they're forcing the Dorts and the J-Dubs and the Chets and the Carusos of the world to shoot from the outside, and they don't have a good shooting series, that can sway the series. So I think it comes down to 3-point variance for the Pacers, and I think what their defensive game plan is going to be.
I also think, how's Siakam going to look in this matchup?
Dude, I was about to say, I'm not surprised if Siakam goes out there and dunks.
You're about to see J-Dub, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of Kenrich Williams, who's been a really good defender in spot minutes, you know? This is a physical team, and this is a team which, like, not saying...
You think Siakam's going to play well or struggle?
I think... I'm in the middle, because I think, like...
Keep down Siakam. So stupid.
Not to say that the refs favor them, but the refs let OKC play. Like, they let them play a little bit more physical, and that's an advantage for them with guys like Dort, guys like J-Dub, who are much bigger bodies, that if they're able to get a little bit more physical with you, it can make a job a lot, especially a guy like Siakam, who likes to post up, likes to face up. You know, he's been great in transition in the playoffs, but his one-on-one game is really in that mid-range department where he likes to take you to the rim, get you with the spin. So get stuff like that requires a little bit of finesse, and you can get knocked off a little bit if another defender is too physical for you.
He just has height on those guys. He has height on J-Dub. He's going to have height on Dort. So when he gets in that mid-range, he has those fades. Like, the contest isn't going to be as great.
No, that's what I agree. I think
it's just OKC is untraditional in the way that they measure length. They are the smallest team in the league, height-wise, weight-wise, but they make up for it because they have enormous wingspans.
An instinct.
J-Dub has a 7'2" wingspan at 6'5". So although Siakam has the height advantage, when they're both standing, their reach might be similar just because of how long Jalen Williams' arms are. So Pascal Siakam,
long arms too,
the reason, he does. The reason why I'm kind of skeptical on how he's going to play, and even Halliburton, I just think this is a tough defense. This is a defense that so far has made Nikola Jokic have his worst playoff series of his career, arguably, since he's become an MVP. It probably is the worst. Julius Randle was absolutely horrible for 2 games.
Terrible.
Two of the other games he was great. Well, I mean, he was great in these playoffs. And Anthony Edwards.
OKC.
And Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle, to me, is similar to Siakam, and they hunt mismatches. And Randle had to settle for a lot of threes because he wasn't able to get a foot in the paint on those drives. Is Siakam going to become more of a jump shooter from 3 this series? Is he going to try
a decent job against the Knicks?
He did, but the 2 series before that, I think he was a little inconsistent from 3. So I think that's a shot that if you're OKC, you're comfortable with if he's taking it more than he's taking what he's normally accustomed to. So I think Siakam is going to have a tough series just with how physical OKC is. He's somebody that hunts mismatches as well, but there's no mismatch on OKC. There's none. So it's going to be tough, but in your scenario, if they want to win, then they both have to be exceptionally great, along with their role players.
There's so many more ways that Thunder can win than the Pacers. I agree with what you said at the beginning. Was just it comes down a lot to shooting variance. It comes down to, we saw last season OKC going up against Dallas, and OKC was able to generate some good looks from 3. They were just missing a lot of them. Now on the other side, you had guys like PJ Washington, who was able to, sometimes be the leading scorer for their team. So that's what it really comes down to me, because even though I think Rick Carlisle has, one of the best coaches in the NBA, with this run, he's probably put himself in top 5 if it wasn't there already. As great of a coach as he is, I still don't know if there's things he can do schematically to give the Pacers an advantage.